Good evening, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the news. He's absolutely right. And that right there is what should be investigated as well. Joe Biden's weaponization of the DOJ, McCarthy puts it into perspective, makes it quite clear the Biden administration knew that they were holding classified documents since the election, if I heard him correctly. Maybe I heard wrong, but anyways, they knew about these classified documents since before the investigation and the raid on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, yet they hid it from the public. Then, of course, we have internal documents proving that Joe Biden was directly involved even after taking office. Get the exact details. But he changed the law in relation to a Records Act and then directly greenlit the investigation into Donald Trump over his possession over classified documents the entire time that they were creating this document gate scandal, promoting all these ridiculous conspiracies. Joe Biden doing media tours condemning Donald Trump for being so incredibly irresponsible, blah, blah, blah. The entire time he was in possession of classified documents. He knew it and his team knew it. And then all of a sudden, after the election, it drops, pretty much putting the DOJ as new special counsel investigation into Donald Trump's handling of classified documents dead in the water. And they're also probably dropping the store to distract from something else, maybe at the border. Who knows what? But the constant corruption, the weaponization of the DOJ, the double standard and justice which can no longer stand. Joe Biden just gets to do things and get away with them for 50 years working in government, literally stealing classified documents as the former vice president of the United States, knowing about it and willfully misleading and lying to the public to make sure the information didn't drop before the election. We need to see Republicans go on the offensive immediately. Frankly, I think this might even justify an impeachment. It's hard to say whether they should or shouldn't do it. To be honest, it might just be a complete friggin' waste of taxpayer dollars. And I feel like the whole impeachment thing has been diluted. Democrats have turned it into some sort of partisan tool. But in my opinion, Joe Biden here has committed a crime, and the old GOP would have probably let it go, just like they did with the Hunter Biden laptop. Even friggin' Mitt Romney promoting that absolutely bogus narrative that it's probably Russian misinformation, 50 top intelligence officials, or in that it fits all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. People like Mitt Romney actually promoting that ridiculous narrative. The old GOP would have let the Democrats do what they want, and they wouldn't have defended Donald Trump so vehemently. And so it's honestly a breath of fresh air to be seeing this, to be hearing this on day one of Kevin McCarthy's speakership. I'm gonna give him credit. He's hitting all the nails right on the head, absolutely debunking the leftist narrative involving the document gate scandal, promising investigations into Joe Biden, launching committees into the weaponization and politicization of federal agencies, kicking Adam Schiff and the rest of these goons off of their committee positions. And he's even going hard on January 6th. That is the one thing that I was really expecting Republicans to kind of just get all squeamish, assume the fetal position, and declare defeat, but he's going on the offensive. They're doubling down on his promise to release all of the CCTV footage of that day, and even slamming Nancy Pelosi as ridiculous sham January 6th, trial or show trial or little hearing. It's being one-sided, partisan, preemptively deciding what their end result was going to be and then working backwards to justify their claims. Enough is enough. And honestly, while this is good, well, it's a start. I still don't think it goes far enough. I still don't think it's enough from Kevin McCarthy, considering the evil that we are up against. And yes, I really mean evil. I don't say that facetiously. Frankly, it's time to get Hest. You're paying attention to the legal double standards, the bias in the weaponization of the media and federal agencies, law enforcement, the justice system. If you're paying attention to this and you're not pissed, and something's wrong, and so we need to continue seeing more energy, more promises, but most importantly, more action. Continue to investigate and get on the offensive. Democrats have been on the offensive since 2017. Since Donald Trump's first inauguration, and the GOP has done nothing for the last 6 years, even when they control the majority in the House and in the Senate. They pretty much teamed up with the Democrats because the Orange Man was just so scary and so bad and so mean it was uncharted territory. They wasted 2 good years of Donald Trump's first half term, and since then it's been 4 years of Nancy Pelosi as reign with very little GOP pushback. Whenever we got 2 years under you, Speaker McCarthy, it's time to make them count. This is a start, but it doesn't go far enough, and it's time to get on the offensive. We'll just have to keep paying attention. Keep holding this man accountable. The next 2 years should be a rallying cry heading into a strong 2024 rebuke of the last 6 years of Democrat overreach, corruption, and weaponization. And some significant news: a vice president does not have the same authority to declassify documents as a sitting president. This is a fact. If you want to bring up President Obama's executive order years back allowing the vice president to declassify documents, the vice president has to be the person to classify the document initially. Only then can he or she declassify a classified record as vice president, the president, as commander-in-chief, with the authority to declassify anything from the Federal Bureau of Investigation to Central Intelligence. Any government agency has a blanket all-encompassing, sweeping presidential authority. He can do that. And the Supreme Court has ruled that he can do this now. I think that what's taking place with Joe Biden and declassified documents is not a coincidence. It's not the attorneys that notified the DOJ. And 3 different locations now I believe today was the 3rd different location where classified records were found. This is a nightmare for a number of reasons. It not only shows that Democrats and people defending Biden were hypocrites, and the president himself is a hypocrite. It shows that there are Democrats who have had enough or want to replace Biden with Kamala Harris, or want him to resign eventually, because there is the possibility of criminal charges or resigning before criminal charges. You might say, oh, my God, that's ridiculous. Democrats would never turn on their own. Yeah, up until recently, within 4 or 5 days, there was classified documents in his garage next to Corvette in his office, then in another location. He didn't know about it. And it emanated from his attorneys contacting the DOJ. Why on earth would his attorneys contact the DOJ when you had attorneys setting up and framing Trump? You had attorneys doing everything possible and political advisors within the Democratic Party, Democratic officials working with government agencies and Twitter to suspend the New York Post to suspend their true reporting on possible graft and potential bribery schemes within his emails. Okay. Within Hunter's laptop, where Joe is implicated in 150 problematic financial transactions investigated by those financial institutions, where you have $1 billion deal in one of our geopolitical adversaries. And so hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into businesses, Hunter gaining millions of dollars from very bizarre individuals throughout the planet, that Democrats was supposed to be, either defending or opposing. And you have then, of course, an invasion in Europe under Biden's watch. But we're heading into a recession. And we have a terrible geopolitical nightmare brewing not only in Europe, but also with Taiwan and China. And so you have to ask yourself, well, what's going on here? What is going on here? How do you get an entire machine defending and propping up and just, catering to Biden every day? And then suddenly, it unravels within a week? That's somebody within the Democratic Party could be? Why aren't I 50 points ahead? You might ask. Are you mean, like with the cloth, or all the other wonderful quotes from Madam Secretary could be that they're paving the way for Clinton 2024? This is not a coincidence. If you think this is all a coincidence, you're very likely gullible or naive. The only reason because those attorneys didn't have to go to the DOJ. They could have informed the president, nobody could have found out about it. And considering the fact that they protected even sources that lied to the Federal Bureau of Investigation during the Durham probe, and purchased a dossier to implicate Trump that was completely full of lies, and all of these things they did that were surreptitious and deceitful, to think that they would just find a thing, that they would just find these classified records, and they were doing so because they're just following the letter of the law. That's not possible, in my view. So there's a political component here. They want him to resign or to give the presidency to Kamala Harris. They either want, and they want a new nominee in 24. I think that would be Hillary Clinton. I think that there are Democrats, the special counsel alone, let's talk about that. And that's bizarre that a special counsel within a week formed against by you don't even need, I'm telling you right now, you don't need a special counsel. They don't need a special counsel for Biden, and I am voting Trump in 24. Voted for him 2 years ago. And I'm telling you, and I want Trump was a great president in terms of foreign policy, much better than what we have now. And a great president in terms of economic policy, much better than what we have now. And if you watch this channel, You know why I think Trump's performance as president? I'm talking about the media hysteria, or perhaps his rhetoric of that makes a job. I'd rather have Trump's rhetoric than what we have now in terms of inflation, and an invasion in Europe right now, which all took place under Biden. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and hit subscribe. See you again.